Today we're going to talk about Telecaster neck pickups and how to isolate the ground so that you can do fancy switching like phase switching or series parallel. So let's zoom in and get started. Now I'm sure most of you have seen various diagrams online. That's probably what brought you to this. For various Telecaster mods like a four-way mod. And here's another one from Rothstein. There's a four-way mod. And one of the things that all of these have in common, here's a five-way shoot mod, is that the neck pickups have 3 wires, not 2. And even this one from Seymour Duncan, it only shows 2, but it has this little notation here that says that the neck pickup cover ground must be grounded separately. And what that means is it wants you to have a 3-wire neck pickup like this. Now, you don't have to go buy a special Telecaster neck pickup. You can make this into a 3-wire pickup in about a minute and a half. And I'm going to show you how and why you would want to do that. So let's say that you were doing series parallel switching. So what that's doing basically, you've got your neck, and we're not going to call these hot and ground, and I'll get to why in a minute. We're going to call these positive and negative. So you've got your neck positive and negative, and you've got your bridge positive and negative, okay? So when you're running in parallel mode, that means the pickups are parallel. You have a bridge pickup and you have a neck pickup. So, you know, you have your negatives go to one place, typically the back of a pot, and then your neck hot goes to somewhere on the switch and your bridge hot goes to somewhere on the switch. When you're running in series, what you're effectively doing is this. You're making one pickup in series out of both of them. And this is your hot, or your positive, and this is your negative for this entire pickup, this one series pickup that you've made. And then you also have phase switching. So if you don't know about pickup phasing, there are a gajillion really good videos out there that will tell you about phasing, and I may do one later. But basically, these pickups will be in phase with each other. If you want to get that out of phase sound, then basically what you're doing is you're, via a switch of some kind, you're saying this is no longer positive and this is no longer negative. You're saying this is now positive and this is now negative, and it reverses the phase of that pickup. And when you're on just a neck only setting, it makes absolutely no difference at all. But if you're in that mixed setting, it will change the sound of those pickups in a shared setting if they're out of phase with each other. Now, to do that though on a Telecaster, to do any of these various mods, if it is, and this only applies to this type of traditional Telecaster neck pickup. This is a brand new Fender 52. If it is a traditional Telecaster pickup with a chrome cover, you'll notice these little tabs. And there's also one at the front of the chrome cover that goes through the flatwork and ends up right there. That's the tip of one of these tabs right there. And it is grounded to the pickup's negative. And basically what that's doing is that's telling this it is always ground. Well, if you're going to do series and parallel switching or phase switching, sometimes negative isn't ground. Sometimes positive is ground. So what we need to do is isolate that. And it's really simple to do. Now you'll notice that It's basically ground, and there's a few different ways I've seen this done. Sometimes there's a little bit of wire like that just connects the ground tab, the Chrome cover tab, to the negative wire here. Sometimes there's the tab is extended and it just kind of lays over. But the point is, you just need to break that connection. Now, you could solder here and heat that up and remove this, but there is a little teeny tiny, and you can just barely see it. Try and get it in the light. This little, looks like a hair laying on the flat work there, right there. And those are the actual coil winding wires, and they terminate in here, and you don't want to take the chance on breaking them because they are thinner than a hair and they will break very easily. So I'm not even going to heat this up. There's no reason to heat this up. There's no reason to touch this. All I'm going to do is just cut that. Okay, so as of right now, my Chrome cover is removed from the negative. So my ground is isolated now, but if I hook this up now, I'm going to get a wicked buzz because I still need to ground this cover to the system ground, even though this negative may not always be ground. This cover always has to be grounded. So I need to add a wire to this tab. So I'm just going to get my new wire here, and I'll cut me a piece about long enough. And I'm going to solder I'm going to try and position this so that you can see it. I'm going to solder a new wire, and when I heat this up, that old bit is going to come off. So I'm going to solder a new wire to that cover tab. And I don't even have to do it to this one. If it's too funky and hard to get to, I could do it to one of these back here if I wanted to. Because we're basically grounding this metal cover anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and do it in that same spot though, just because that's traditionally where it goes. And I sometimes find it helpful to give myself a little helping hand here. Now this steel cover is going to be a little more difficult to heat up than, you know, what you would normally be soldering. So you might have to give it a little more heat than you usually would. You know, it's a chromed steel cover. It's going to take it a little bit longer to heat up. And that's literally it. Okay, so I'll slide my casing back down. And that's it. So now I'm done. Now, when I am following directions on these various wiring diagrams of where to connect my positive and negative, I can follow the directions of positive and negative, and then this is cover ground and it's always grounded. And that's going to let me do series and parallel or phase switching or any number of little tricky-do things and not have a buzz. So there you go. That's how you isolate a cover ground.